Cloud. All right, give thanks. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be our 14th iteration for this bi-weekly meeting entitled, for this group entitled the Mighty MaaTic Men of Valor Action Network. All right, this is a virtual representation of a positive, progressive, productive, nationally/internationally aimed brotherhood, fraternity, society, committee, infused with imperative and essential rites of passage and Man-soar-ship program initiatives. All right, the MMMOVAN, Mighty MaaTic Men of Valor Action Network. With that, I want to say Baragani, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom, and Hotep. All praise due to the Most High, eternal oneness, creator, creatress. All right, the most benevolent one. Give thanks and give gratitude. Thank you for the ancestors and the elders, those who have shed blood, sweat, and tears to ensure and pave the way so we may be here today. All right, give thanks for and gratitude for life, love, and learning. Okay. Welcome to the Mighty MaaTic Men of Valor Action Network Committee virtual bi-weekly meeting. All right, this is virtual representation of positive, progressive, productive, national, internationally aimed brotherhood, fraternity, society, and committee. All right. So within that, we are creating safe spaces for Black, melanated, Native, Aboriginal, original man to be masculine, strong, confident, and courageous, but also allowing vulnerability, openness, honesty, and knowledge, and acknowledging that we are indeed human beings and not machines, beasts of burden, playthings, wallets, or punching bags. Our main aim is to help Black original men discover their true selves, nature, and return to their true purpose on this planet and positions as pillars, protectors, providers, and directors of the family, community, and nation. All right. Our aim is to help these original men rediscover their true selves, nature, all right, and return to their proper position. All right. So within that we must understand our true history and legacy. All right. You come from bloodlines of some of the oldest hominoid species on the planet and not from slaves. All right. Our ancestries are the mothers and fathers of modern day civilization. Okay, so we want to come to some fundamental understandings. All right, our mission is to ensure that this history and legacy is represented properly per our great ancestors and elders. Within this, we intend to mold boys and reshape those willing into principled men, protectors, providers, leaders, and pillars of the family and community, and resurrecting a new MaaTic nation. All right. Our ultimate objectives are to take back controls of our families, communities, rebuilding the traditional family structure and dynamics based on our great culture, history, and legacy, and build towards becoming a thriving, self-sufficient, and independent society/nation once again. As Black original men, is it not on us, is it not our responsibility and accountability to take upon our narrative, image, and what happens in our community as it pertains to direction, protection, and provisions? Okay. So that
New World Warrior.
Join the meeting.
All right, give thanks. Someone else is joining in.
Brother New World.
Hey, Ngozi!
Right.
Greetings.
How's everybody's body up in there?
All right, excellent, Bob, excellent. Give thanks. Thank you for joining us. All right, we were just briefly just going over some of the fundamentals, okay, and just went over, basically the mission statement and some of our aims and objectives. Okay, looks like we lost Dr. Washun. Hopefully he'll be able to tap back in. Okay. So with that being said, I just want to introduce myself, and then I just want to do a quick round robin just so we can, making sure that we're keeping in touch and in tune with one another, and aiding toward the building process. All right. With that being said, I am your brother Lumumba Uncaged. I will be your host and moderator for this evening. This is the 14th iteration of the virtual bi-weekly Monday meetings for the mighty MaaTic Men of Valor Action Network. All right. So this is a Man-soar-ship and a rites of passage program. All right, and I'll get into further greater details on what a Man-soar-ship program is. All right. So fundamentally, foundationally, we rest on the principles of the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at. All right, the nine principles of Ma'at, the 7 principles of the Nguzo Saba. All right, and the instructions from the great Tahuti, all right, the great God of wisdom, quote unquote, known as the Emerald Tablets. All right, so I'll have that information. I'm going to post that in the chat very quickly. Give me 1 second. So I do have a couple links there, and I'm just going to post those in the chat. This is going to be links on what I just described, and that being the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at, okay, the Nguzo Saba, and the Emerald Tablets. Okay. All right, so give me 1 second. I'm going to put that into the chat. Yeah, reference. Okay, hopefully that comes through. Okay. All right, so that should be in the chat. Okay, with that being said, once again, I'm your brother Lumumba Uncaged. I just want to do a quick round robin. I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My temperament for today, my feelings on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I'm like at about an 8. Okay, I had some technical difficulties I was able to push through, so I'm thankful for that. And I'm representing for the Serious Brothers in support of the Million Woman March. All right. Also, for of course, for this meeting and organization here, the Mighty MaaTic Men of Valor Action Network. As far as some of my gifts, talents, and abilities, I do have some know-hows and understandings with dealing with moderating, dealing with aspects of social media. I'm a self-taught photographer, videographer. I'm a self-taught barber. And also, I am a self-taught vegan chef. All right. Um, just a few things, that I've developed over the years. Okay. With that being said, I want to just spin it around, have everyone introduce themselves. All right. If you would, where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities that you wish to share with the collective, and any group, organization, or entity that you may be affiliated with or belonging to. With that being said, I want to move to Dr. Wasun Sanakawa. Yes, sir. If you could tap in, let us know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities that you wish to share. All right, introduce yourself and any group, entity, or organization that you're belonging to or affiliated with. All right, give thanks.
Yes, good thanks, and good evening to everybody, and it's most appreciated to be a part of this team. I am a progenitor of a tribal government called the Oceania Moors. We call ourselves Indigo Lenape Moors, moreover of Hanuna, Turtle Island. I'm also the founder of the TAIIP Worldwide. That's the Traditional Assembly of the International Interdependent Peoples Worldwide. We are a NGO also. We have a process of organizing communities so that they can be self-sustaining and connected peer-to-peer. We also are a financial tech. My background is in MIS, and I'm also dubbed as an apostle of economic emancipation for our people. We're building a network by which we can trade on across the globe using the Internet of Things.
All right. Give thanks, much appreciated. All right, with that being said, I want to come on down to Baba Yao. All right, if you can introduce yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any gift talents or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, organization, or entity that you belong into or affiliated with. Give thanks, Baba Yao.
They both. Baba Yao, founder of Kwanzaa Associates Incorporated Inc. Used to be a nonprofit, now I'm a profit foundation. Plus founding member of Mental Cares of Germantown, on board of World War II Veterans Museum in Philadelphia. And Kwanzaa is about mobility. That's his mission. It supported islands, people, from children to elders, and making handicap accessible. My background is workforce development, been a plumber for 45 years. Also, I run a jewelry business coming out of Ghana, featuring the Guzasaba principles. I support a women's collective in Ghana. We teach them how to make jewelry, and we sell them here and abroad. I'm stationed in Washington, D.C. Plus, I'm part of a housing group in Germantown. Germantown, Philadelphia, we talk to people about keeping their houses. When the predators come, we show them where's resources to keep their house if they want to, if they're able to. We will consult on making the house handicap accessible.
All right. Give thanks. Much appreciated, Baba Yao. All right, coming on over, Baba Ngozi. All right, if you could, if any information that you would wish to share with the collective, all right, where you're calling in from, introducing yourself, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you may be belonging to or affiliated with. Baba Ngozi.
Greetings all, Santwaki Ngozi, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, African behind enemy lines. I offer sincerity. Hotep.
All right, give thanks, much appreciated, Baba Ngozi. All right, and last but not least, we have our good brother, New World Warrior. If you could introduce yourself, let us know where you're calling in from, any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective, and any group, entity, or organization that you are belonging to or affiliated with. Appreciate you.
Okay, New World Warrior calling from DC now, residing in a few places. But anyway, gifts, talents, and abilities. I dance, I sing, I do most anything. And I'm down with anybody that's all about being black and taking it all back and staying on the attack so we can get everything we deserve back. That includes the Million Woman World Movement, the Kwanzaa Associated Incorporated, and NAV Vets, National Association of Black Veterans, the Black Vets for Social Justice, and anybody else who just want to do right by our own darn people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Much appreciated. Okay. All right, good thanks, gentlemen. Let me put one more link. Okay, for the 42 laws on my item. We'll go ahead and put that Put that in the copy link in the chat as well. All right, give thanks. Okay, and again, this is for further reference for these ideas and concepts. Again, these are the principles, the foundations that we utilize in order to build this initiative with the Mighty MaaTic Men of Valor Action Network. Okay, with that being said, I do have a couple of clips I want to play. I want us to be able to just tap into to have a brief discussion. All right, so let me just put that in the chat really quickly. So we can go ahead and tap in on those. All right, today we're going to be discussing some information. One is going to be on tech, all right, future technologies. One of the things we want to focus on as we begin to build towards the future as it pertains to job preparedness, readiness, technical training aspects. So to be able to create a revenue stream, to be able to build on a career and your skill base. All right, these are some things that I believe we should be looking towards and looking into as we develop into the future. Okay. All right, let me come here. All right, I'm put this in the chat and then I'm going to just share the screen. Okay. All right, give me a few moments. It's loading up now. Okay. All right, just going to share my screen. Give me one moment. Here it is. I think it's here. Okay.
Country.
All right. Let me just share my screen here. Share screen. Okay. Here we go right here. Share sound. Okay. All right, Brother Lefty coming into the building. All right. Let me just blow this up. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see my screen. Is that right?
I can't, but it's okay.
Can everybody else see the screen?
I got a new phone, new number, new everything.
I can see it. I can see it.
Yes.
I can see it. Yes.
All right,
Yes.
all right. Thanks.
I can't see it because I'm visually impaired.
Yes, sir. I got you. We got the audio too, so give me. I'm about to play it now.
The very first African-American automaker has inspired an Atlanta car maker to bring the Black community.
Volume is low on my side. I can't hear it.
Okay. Let me take that back real quick. Let me turn up the volume. All right, give me 1 second. Let me pump up the volume.
Brother Lumumba,
Yes, sir.
I didn't get a link and I texted you earlier.
Country. The very
I
first
did send it to
African-American
you today.
automaker has inspired an Atlanta car maker to bring the Black community into the EV revolution. Channel 2's Barrett Peterson is live in Midtown Atlanta. And
All right. Can everybody hear the audio and see the video?
I can hear it.
Okay.
Yes, it's
Yes,
down low, but we can hear it.
It's down
yes, I
low.
can hear it.
But we can hear it on my end. Considering, how far I am away, it might be on just me.
Make sure it's all the way up. Okay. All right. I'm gonna let it roll, and then we're gonna come back and do some commentary on it. And my apologies, brother Lefty, as well. I haven't been having some technical difficulties on my end, so I wasn't able to get all the information up that I initially wanted to. I had some electrical issues over here, so I had to fix those problems. Then my heat went down, so there was a bunch of things that was happening back to back. Thankfully, though, I was able to get things up and running, so I could actually have the meeting for today.
Welcome to the life of a black man in America. Catching hell and doing it well.
All right, I'm gonna let it roll.
African American breakthroughs in this country. The very first African American automaker has inspired an Atlanta car maker to bring the Black community into the EV revolution. Channel 2's Barrett Peterson is live in Midtown Atlanta. And Barrett, he aims to retrofit gasoline-powered vehicles.
That's right. For starters, pull the engine out of this SUV or whatever happens to be your vehicle and drop in a battery and generator while also manufacturing his own line of electric vehicles. Derek Bailey has always admired trailblazers.
Black men have been doing great things throughout history.
Bailey builds cars, electric cars. But he's always admired this country's very first, and until himself, only African-American automaker.
He was actually born before the Emancipation Proclamation. He built a car company in that period in time.
C.R. Patterson was born into slavery, but the company he started built automobiles before Henry Ford did. 100 years later, in this Midtown Atlanta showroom, Derek Bailey has gasoline-powered vehicles he converted to electric.
Our retrofit is to show that we can use our technology to actually bring everyone into the EV revolution by allowing you to bring an old car in on Monday, and next Monday you pick up an electric car.
He's also preparing to launch production of a new EV that'll be equipped with a special generator that'll charge the car's battery, eliminating the need for a charging station. This week, Derek Automotive will honor C.R. Patterson to mark Juneteenth. If only C.R. could ride in one of these.
I think he'd be proud. He'd probably go over my car and help me make some improvements. I mean, the man was a master craftsman. I'm not. Right now, I'm relying on, good Chinese partners to help me build this car. Yeah, he'd probably be proud as he criticized my car.
So Derek's company also publishes an automotive magazine, and he just bought this sweet 73 Cadillac convertible El Dorado. Motor is coming out, battery's going in. That's going to be his daily driver. Live in Midtown, Barrett Peterson, Channel 2 Action News.
All right, all right. All right, so one of the things that I want to make sure that we touch on, during these sessions is where we need to be going, where we need to be moving, where we need to be investing in, where we need to be steering our youth, what direction we need to be steering them into, what type of industries do we need to be making sure that we're, dominating, getting well invested in and being able to be at the cusp of these technological advancements and innovations. Okay, we're moving into an area where we're getting highly into robotics, different forms of technology, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, okay, a virtual reality. Okay, so I believe it will behoove us to be able to start to funnel into these industries and making sure that we have a strong foothold within, these different aspects. With that being said, any thoughts, opinions on that video clip that we just shared? Yes, Dr. Washun Shinakawa.
Okay, 2 points. One is a critical issue that he solved is that the battery can be recharged while the vehicle is being used. The other one is something that we can solve. There's another brother that worked on vehicles with Elon Musk. I can't think of his name right now, but I'll get it to you by next meeting. We need to be able to finance these operations. We have a financial institution that can actually provide financing. The reason why cars are financed is because people can't afford to pay for them in cash. So we have that capability. It's just a matter of us putting our nickels and dimes together with a return on investment and securing the ability for us to produce Ford Motor Credit or GMAC, General Motors Acceptance Corporation, or, what Chrysler does. So our Toyota. And the reason why they have to be financed is because they basically have priced the cars out of the market of the average individual.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I would like to say this, although he was the first car maker, the first car was an electric car, and he is that guy. But also, George Washington Carver invented the plant for Ford called the assembly line, which he gets no credit for.
That's correct. So, one of the other initiatives is to making sure that we are passing on this information, that we're passing on this history, passing on this legacy. So you want to make sure that we're well informed, we're informing one another, and we're able to pass on this information to future generations, knowing that the first, Black car producer, came in and was producing vehicles before the Emancipation Proclamation. I mean, how many of us are, available, have this information available to us? How often are we hearing, this type of history? And so, I think this is another prime example of lost, stolen, and forgotten history that we need to make sure that we reassert and put back into the mainstream, into the mainframe. All right. And, in addition to information. Okay.
Can I say this? That's the reason for the communications conglomerate platform. R2 is so that we can tell our story, archive our historical information, and preserve it for generations to come. So the communication aspect is very important because communication should go on every second of every minute of every hour of every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. So yes, the brother is putting together, a media outlet. All right, and so several components that that's going to entail. So you'll be able to learn more about that as things progress as well. If you have any questions or comments for that, please let me know. We can forward those questions and get some further insights. All right. With that being said, and of course, again, this is part of the mission of the Mighty MaaTic Men of Valor to make sure that we are encapsulating and controlling our narrative and our image. All right, making sure that we're uh, upkeeping with our legacy, our culture, our tradition, and our history. All right, based on world history and not Europeanized, homogenized, westernized versions of history. All right, with that being said, I want to move on to my brother Lefty, Lefty X. If you want to tap in on the video presentation we just saw, any questions or comments on that?
I came in late, for real, for real.
Was you able to see the video we played?
Yeah, I've seen like the ending. I just came in when
Okay. Okay. All right. So yeah, the brother, he's an automotive manufacturer, and he was able to produce a converter that converts gas vehicles into electric vehicles. And he also was talking about I got to get his information again. The brother that was the first black car automotive producer, which he started producing cars prior to the Emancipation Proclamation, right? So that was information until I stumbled upon that this clip. That was information that I didn't know, right? And I'm pretty affluent, as far as being studious, and so just wanted to get thoughts there. So one of the things we were looking at was the thing that I was, pushing was that this is the type of information that we need to be privy to, and making sure that we're at the head and the cusp as it pertains to technological development, advancement, and innovation. So I was looking at this as something we need to look further into, and other such types of developments as far as investments are concerned, as far as pulling together our monies and our resources and having things to invest in that is not only going to be beneficial to us financially, but also beneficial to Black business and to Black communities as a whole. All right, but also being able to funnel our youth into these type of industries. So we have to be knowledgeable and abreast of these things ourselves, so we can be able to turn other folks on. Okay, this is coming down the pike. You know what I mean? So some of the things I mentioned, of course, we have EVs, electrical vehicles, but we also have, the advent of virtual reality, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, and all of these things that are currently developing, and soon is going to be the mainstay. So these markets are currently under high development, are going to start booming. In some instances, they already have. Okay, so just wanted to get thoughts and opinions on that information, but also other types of industries that we might want to look at focusing in on as we're developing ourselves and our young men.
Okay. So, um, Dr. Claude Anderson talks about a lot of our industries. Like he said, we're locked out about 70% of the industries is out there. Like we're like owning an airplane, shipping industry. Like those are big industries that it seems that we're locked out of for the moment. And I understand that we need to deal with technology. My thing with technology is that we have to be the creators of the technology that comes out, or because the AI already has a bias based on the programming. If you know anything about AI, they talk about the bias that it has, based on facial recognition and different things. They're able to stereotype us already using AI based on our algorithm. So if we don't, if we're not the initiator of these different technologies, then we're subject to the biases of the creator. So it's kind of it's like we had to really start from the basics as far as innovating new technology, but at the same time we have to learn what's coming out. So you're right about that, being abreast of what's going on, but at the same time it's like a double. It's like you doing two things at the same time. It's like trying to learn it and create it at the same time. So it's like building a plane while you falling. So it's tricky. But these different I believe that with the technology that's already here, we use that to our advantage as far as learning how to benefit from it, use it in a way that can benefit the whole, the collective, and as well as learn how to create our own. So that's my opinion.
All right, give thanks, much appreciated for that input and insight. I'm gonna swing back around. I just want to have everybody weigh in first, and I'm gonna swing back around. We can add in to any other further builds. I'm coming to you, Baba Yao. Thoughts and opinions on that video presentation, from what you was able to hear.
Yes, I'm familiar with the brother. I think he started, I don't know if it's the same person, the assembly line, but Ford Motors, I guess, bought it from him or stole it from him.
Okay. So it was like 3 in 1. There was the assembly line portion, Dr. Wasun Sanakawa, he added that in. That was actually our good brother ancestor George Washington Carver, okay, who actually developed that what they call the plant process, the assembly line process, that because he was good friends with a lot of these higher up elites because he was looked at as non-threatening. One of the things about George Washington Carver is that he was castrated, right? So he had a very high voice. And so he was, he was put in a position and looked at and deemed as non-threatening. So he was able to run in different circles and whatnot. So he was able to give that information to, the Ford Model T for that company for him to develop the processing plan in which he did. So that was one aspect of it. The brother that we were looking at, his name is Derek. I forget his last name, but it's under Derek Automotives. All right, and he developed a concept now where he's taking and retrofitting gas cars, and he's turning them into electrical vehicles. But he himself noted that the first black automotive producer actually, came into existence before the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. All right, so he gave credit to that brother and his information, pertaining to that as him being the first black automotive in the nation. All right, and this is before the Emancipation Proclamation. So he was giving credence to that brother during the Juneteenth celebration, and then Dr. Washun was adding in just the aspect of George Washington Carver developing the plant process that Henry Ford used for his assembly line, developing that process.
Can I interject also one other thing?
Yes, go ahead, brother.
EVs, there's a positive side and a negative connotation with EVs. Moving away from gas engines, some people say that gas engines are harmful for the ozone and everything, and that's a high possibility that we know pollutants and carbon, the bad carbon that's being released. But EVs can also be bulleted, just like your cable. They don't have to come out to your house to cut it off. So an EV can be shot at an electromagnetic bullet and shut your car down in motion.
Okay, thank you for that addition. We'll circle back around to that. I have some things for that as we build, but I just want to get a general consensus on what it is that we're discussing here as far as being able to stay at the forefront of technology and developing technologies, this one in particular, and how we might be able to benefit from that, or is it detrimental? So I want to come on to you, Baba Ngozi. What's your thoughts and opinions on that?
Hey, I got one more thing.
Yes, sir.
We also have association with people in Sierra Leone, and we teach young people how to make robotic arms. And
Excellent.
we did that here in Philadelphia at one time with children. But the brother is out of Sierra Leone. So I have associations with them, strong associations with them, and we could buy also used cars at the auction anytime, then probably might be able to convert them. So that's a network I'm part of. So instead of buying new cars and getting the notes, we can buy used cars and I guess try to transform them to electric.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, give thanks. Yes, the brother, yeah, his technology, he actually does, he retrofits. So he takes old model cars, gas guzzlers, so on and so forth. and then he converts those models into electrical vehicles. All right, so yes, that's definitely an avenue you want to look at. Getting further information on and researching further. So that's one of the things I was going to mention as we continue. Let me just go on to Baba Ngozi. All right, thoughts and opinions on this.
Greetings. Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier, Brother Mumba, about the genius that we have shown throughout time. And a lot of it is hidden, a lot has been stolen, a lot of it is just not shared. But the thing is, we know we have the genius, but let's go back to the foundation. Well, before we do that, let's go back to this man can convert a combustion engine car to an electric car. We have people who can do the water, the hydrogen powered vehicles, by using water and separating the hydrogen and oxygen. We're genius, and we have done this. But whatever we do, we need to go back to what you, Brother Lumumba, initially pointed out that we're founded on, which is Ma'at, Nguzu Saba, and the 7 principles of Jehudi. Because if you don't have the integrity, if you don't have the loyalty to the people, if you don't have the follow through, you can have all the genius in the world, and it won't be benefiting your people. So whatever we do, we first need to, like you say, as above so below, and without and within. Let's go within, build the integrity, build the follow through. I mean, how many times have people said things and they just didn't do it or didn't do it right? We can do a lot of stuff, but we have to have that integrity. So my whole premise is, before we go into the material, before we go into the, all the other things or the aspects of the outside, let's go in, let's construct the people that we need to be. And then we can move anything physical, material will manifest, because we got that. Ashe.
All right, Ashe. And so give thanks for that. And I'm gonna see if I can put that in the chat, but we did have some listings because this is the 14th iteration here. So we have been working on some of the understanding, overstanding, and understandings. Focusing on these principles and these foundations. So we do have some terminologies and some definitions that we had to plug in. All right.
One interruption, my brother. Yeah, but that's it's one thing to have a presentation or an announcement about it, or even a session about it, but this is something that we need to work on daily, because the layers of poor behavior and poor mindset are ingrained. So it's got to be a daily instruction, a daily working effort. Not just a show or a presentation. It's got to be a daily work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this is a brotherhood that we are forming currently. This is a collective. This is an ongoing process. So we've been holding bi-weekly meetings. This is the 14th iteration. So this is an ongoing process, right? And so we can't, I'm not going to say we can't, but, there's difficulties with us being able to all converge simultaneously at one point in one time. So that's one of the reasons why we've invoked the virtual aspect, so we can be able to touch base and not actually have to be physically present, right? And so these things that we're talking about, we talked about what is our diet, we talked about what is our motivation, we talked about what is our purpose, right? And so we've been doing these things throughout. And so this is just a continual process. I'm in total agreement with what you're saying, though. So my thought was, how does this process begin? How does it continue, right? And this is from every the information that I've gathered, this is what I've been able to put forth, right? And so this is one of the solution-based actions that has been developed from these thought processes. So at least we can meet, twice a month in order to be able to say, okay, where is our level of accountability and responsibility? So we're creating what we're calling cumulative accountability. cumulative accountability, excuse me. So we're able to hold ourselves and one another accountable based on what we are saying and then the actions that follow that. Okay, so this is the organizational phase of things. And how do we get to A, B, C, and D, right? We have to first start from a beginning phase. So this is that beginning phase, and we've been building on it ever since. All right. So what also is being done is it's being curated. So this information is documented. So then it can be used as a reference point. So we can go back, we can learn, we can study, we can digest, and then come back to the table and then continue to build and grow and develop. Right. So these principles that we've said before, these are lifestyle principles. These are things that we should be doing and dealing with every single day of our lives, 365 days a year, right? 24/7, 7 days a week, right? So we talked about the principles of the Nguzo Saba. We talked about those, of course, during Kwanzaa, but also how it's pertinent for us to be able to incorporate that into our daily lives. Okay. So again, this is all part of the processes that we're developing, right? Because we have different people on different tiers of understanding, so on and so forth. First started with the fundamentals, all right, and then we've just built from there. What is the definition of a man? What is manhood? What is masculinity? Who are some of the individuals who we can say are exemplary models, of these concepts? So we talked about Dr. Khalid Muhammad. We talked about El Haj Malik El Shabazz. We talked about Muhammad Ali and others, Kwame Nkrumah, Stephen Biko, so on and so forth. So we can look at individuals that we can look to as models for the archetype of the type of men that we're talking about being, continuing to be and becoming. Right. So yeah, I'm in total and complete agreement with that. It's just going to take a process, and it's going to take a level of consistency and commitment. And that's what this platform is about.
Well, here's a concise application, because as you mentioned, this is a bi-monthly session, and you've had 14 sessions so far. So the participants on each session, we have these standards that we're trying to work towards, and we share, we reveal, we show that vulnerability about, okay, what did we do today, or what did we do this week, or this past, between that last session and this session? Which behaviors, and you be candid as candid as you can at this point in time about this is where my intention was, this is where I achieved, and this is why I did not get to where I needed to be. And we can share little aspects of our daily interactions and compare it to the standards. And in that way, we're like working on it. We're working on it, but we have something tangible, our actual daily experiences. What were your goals this week, brother, as far as integrity? What was your goals this week as far as follow through? And we can list them, all 5 or 6 of us here. We can list them. Okay, did you achieve them? Well, yeah, well, okay, how? And where did you fall short? This is an actual applying of these standards to our behavior. And that's how we clean it. That's how we get it shaped. That's how we, get it sharp. And not talk to it as if it's something on a page in a book, and then let's go to the next chapter. That's the classroom stuff. We got to be applying this.
So we're talking about being direct actors, right? Is that's what I'm getting out of this?
I don't understand what you mean by direct actors.
Okay, direct action. Let me clarify my statement. So
I'm saying let's apply these standards to our daily
right.
daily behaviors, and we reveal them, we share them, so that we can kind of get a barometer about how we're doing, how we're progressing.
Shouldn't it be some kind of standard set, or some kind of actual things that we saying that we want to do within the framework of what's needed? Shouldn't we make an assessment also?
It can be anything, because whatever our goal is, we want to know, are we incorporating the Nguzo Saba? Are we incorporating Ma'at? And are we incorporating the 7 principles of Jehudi? So whatever it is, whatever your project is, your goal is for that day or for that for that whatever week or month. You use that, and then you have the standards as your barometer about integrity and follow through. And we share that with each other. We are our own healers, okay, and cleansers and fortifiers. Our group of 5 or 6 or however many, we're building within checks and balances, and we got something we can measure, not on a page or we didn't we see that on the slide 2 months ago? No, this is something on a lie that's living.
So, next steps, and who are the we? Who are really ready to take that step? I can't say that I can speak for anybody else. I can only speak for me. So we need to hear from those that are willing and able to take those steps, but within the framework of something that we bring forward as a group. Because a lot of us are doing things individually. Some of it applies to the collective reality, but it has to be stated on what areas are we going into? Are we going to deal with recidivism of our incarcerated brothers that are coming out, that they don't return? So all these different things are youth mentoring, are youth mentorship. Is that how you say it, brother?
It's the Man-soar-ship.
Man-soar-ship.
Yeah, mentorship and recidivism.
Right. Right. Excuse
Yeah,
my
going in jail like it's got a revolving door on it.
Right. So those are two major things, but then there's also a health crisis amongst men. I'm not concerned with what's going on with the sisters in this regard, because we first got to deal with the fact that disease is running rampant in our communities, right? Whether it's communicable diseases or whether it's cancer, there are answers for a lot of these things, simple answers that we can supply. But again, what are we going to do? What are we going to be? What areas are we going to be focused in on laser beam and bring to the table so that when people come into us, we're organized, and if they need something, even if it's a part of having a common understanding or a common inch, we need to know how we're going to approach people, because everybody, like brother is saying, everybody's not coming in at the same level. And some of this is redundancy for us. We have to be willing enough to look at the least common of us and what do they need to come up to the standards that we've arrived to, if we have.
Right. Well, the beauty is that whatever your project is, it applies. So whatever you're working on, recidivism, or you're working on health, or you're working on the money thing, or the material gain, or science, whatever it is, you do your thing. But we use a barometer and we share with, and you say, who? We got 6 or 7 on this platform right now. Those who continue to come in, you have a check, you say, this is what my standard is, this is what my goal was, this is what I displayed, this is what I can work on, and then you incorporate how does it compare to our standards of Nguzu Saba, Ma'at, and Jehudi, principles of Jehudi. Whatever our projects are, they all are part of the whole. Okay, it's really simple. It's really simple.
I'm in agreement with all of that. So my question would be, at what part is what we're doing in contrast to what you're saying? Because I believe that all of what you're saying is what we're doing.
I'm not saying it's in contrast. What I'm saying is that we need to have a clear way to make sure that we're applying these standards to whatever our goals are. Since our goals, we have many facets of the same goal. We have all 6 of us here, and we all got different organizations and different things we focus on. But the main thing is that we're trying to improve us. But I think the major flaw that I've seen in all the organizations that I've seen and been a part of is this thing about integrity and follow through. Because it starts getting, what does Neely Fuller say? It starts getting tacky, trashy, and terroristic. sooner or later, because we haven't worked on our our behavior, our ethics. So whatever we do, whatever we do on this bi-monthly platform, we say this is what I did this month. This is where I accomplished the goal. This is how I did it. But this is where I kind of swayed from my eye. I started chasing a dollar. Well, I started getting more. It was more important for me to be in charge of the group instead of letting other people talk. Whatever it is, we keep on bringing our little personal stories back to the standards so we can see where we are and get the insight and input from the other brothers to say, yeah, brother, that's cool, but did you think about this? Or yeah, whatever it is. We got checks and balances. We got other eyes on us.
Yes, absolutely. So that's what I was describing before when I was talking about communal accountability. So this type of network creates that atmosphere, right? But first we have to build a certain level of trust, right? A certain level of camaraderie, a certain level of brotherhood, right? And so this is what we've been developing through the processes of these meetings, coming to a consensus, coming to an understanding of where it is that we were historically, right? Where we are now and where we need to be, right? And then judging that against some of these individuals who we put forth as models to this end goal that we're trying to attain, right? And so this allows us to go through these processes and allows us to come to a consensus on, what these things are, because we might have ideals ourselves, even the concepts or the principles, so I have listed here, right? I have first 11. I didn't number the second one, but these are core, over, inner, and understanding principles, right? So, fundamental tenets and crucial convictions, right? And so for these, this is an assignment. And so what is supposed to happen is individuals are supposed to take this and then come up with their own definitions to these terms and then bring it back to the collective, right, on both of these listings. And that allows us to have a consensus, not just an assumption on what it is that we say and what it is that we mean. And of course, once again, these are based on the foundations and the fundamental principles of these things we listed before: the 42 negative confession of Ma'at, the seven principles of the Ingles of Saba, and the Emerald Tablets, the lessons of Tahuti. So, these processes are allowing us to get to that communal accountability, right?
Can I say something?
We commit to them.
I believe Brother Ngoza is saying that we need to define what happens between one session and the next session, and what have we progressed in and accomplished from one to the next. I heard him, I'm pretty sure I heard him say that. You could speak for yourself. But what I'm asking us is where each one of us come in at. We need to assess what principles are, what state that is in. So if it's in health of males, right? Man-soar-ship. If it's in economics, right? Define who's doing what in regard to what. And if there's more than one person or group doing that, then how are they working together in their efforts to build on what each other has done and merging those processes, not necessarily having to engage in each other's organization, but having some kind of committed relationship so that we don't reinvent the wheel. These are the difficulties. I don't see it as us falling apart as much as it is us coming together. We don't come together in perfect harmony. It's a little rocky at first, and then it has to be smoothed out. So I'm just asking if Brother Ngozi, is that what he was stating when he was talking about going from one meeting to the next? If you can answer that, please.
Some things I understood.
Accountability.
That's Baba Ngozi. Baba Ngozi, you got the floor.
Okay, I thought somebody was trying to say something.
We trying to keep it
No,
up.
that's New World. We need further conversation and commitment and accountability.
Hold tight. We got to keep this in order. We can't talk over one another. One person has the floor, and then the next person can speak. Right now, Baba Ngozi has the floor. Following up, Brother New World. We can't speak over top of each other.
Okay, Brother Seneca, some of what you said was clear, and it was what I had said. And just to be simple and concise, we just have our weekly or bi-weekly assignments that whatever aspect of our improvement we're working on, we bring it to the forum, and we say, okay, if I'm working on my health, hey y'all, I didn't eat no meat this month, but I sure did get down on some ice cream sundaes. And so, that's defeating my purpose of getting healthy. Or, y'all, I'm trying to save money for the people, but, the money got a little tight. So I didn't save like I should have, but, my priorities we got to bring these things personal so we can say, we have others looking at us to see, okay, the standards, the follow through, the integrity. And that way we can get, we can be our own barometers.
I agree with that. I am in total agreement with that. I just want to add to that. One of the things that I wanted to make sure is that people were comfortable enough and secure enough with divulging certain information. So I didn't want to be the one to pry. It was my attempt to have these things kind of develop naturally. And so once we have the fundamental understandings of where we are and where we're coming from and what the base and the foundation of the program was, then we can move forward. So we've touched base on certain aspects of accountability. And so one of the reasons why these lists are made available here, once again, so that we can come to a consensus on what it is that we mean and what it is that we're talking about. So over here at the top, I'll put it back in the chat though, because I just had Baba Akil come into the Zoom room. Give thanks, much appreciated. I'm going to come to Brother Lefty, and then I'm going to come to New World Warrior. All right, right after I repost these tenets and these core principles. All right, and so the reason why these are listed, right, again, is so that we can have assignment. We can take these words and begin to define them for ourselves in our own perspectives. And then when we come back to the table, right, then we can come to a consensus and an agreement upon what it is that we mean when we're talking about these things, these tenets and these core over, inner, and understandings, right?
And Brother Mumba, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but even with those words, we need to break them down, because those words, they may seem to the point, but every person has their own opinion of what that word means. Creativity, economic. So we got to really be clear.
That's what I just said. That's exactly what I just said. That's the reason I have them listed. What I just said was these terminologies, although they may be fundamental, we all have our different perspectives, and therefore we might all have our different definitions. So instead of assuming that we're all on the same page, we can actually take the assignment and define these things. When we come back to the table, we can have our own definitions and perspectives, and then we can see where they all match, where we have a consensus at, and then we can say, okay, now we know definitively this is what we mean as a group, as a collective of truth. This is what we mean as a group, as a collective with justice. This is what we mean as a group, so on and so forth. So then when we have sessions of accountability, there's no ambiguity. We're defining things specifically for ourselves.
Excellent.
Okay. With that being said, I want to bring in Baba Akil. Just want to allow him to introduce himself, all right, to the collective. I want to go to Brother Lefty, and then I want to go to Baba New World. All right. With that being said, just doing a quick round robin. We've introduced ourselves. Some of the individuals on the line you've been with before. So Bob Akil, if you could yourself, let everyone know where you're calling in from, any group, entity, or organization that you might be representing, and any gift, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective. Give thanks, Bob Akil.
Peace and blessings. The first thing I need to know, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Akil
Okay.
Chinesu. I am the board chair of the Freight Torhu Institute, organization located in North Philadelphia across the uptown, is dedicated to the social, cultural, and political enlightenment in the Black community. We offer an assortment of classes on, for example, a couple, human race studies, rites of passage. The classes are mobile or on-site. You can be contacted at the Freitor, Frator, Heru, Heru, Institute.org. We're on Facebook. That is also the email address. I'm calling from Philadelphia. I'm not sure, what were the other questions, the other components?
The last one was just any gifts, talents, or abilities you wish to share with the collective.
Particular gifts or talents. I am used to working with youth, bringing social and political enlightenment that's on their level. Young children, 8, I could work up to young adults or adults if needed, in the area of culture as well as academics.
Right. All right. All right. Much appreciated. Give thanks. Give thanks. And so, just to recap very briefly, we were just going over some fundamentals. We were going over the foundations. So we have, and I can relist those again because you weren't here for that portion. It might not be in your chat, but we had the principles of Ma'at, we had the Nguzo Saba, and we had the teachings from the Emerald of Tahuti. All right, so those things are listed. I'm going to relist those again so you can have those in the chat. We also went over a brief clip. It was over a brother, Derek Automotive, and he was the premier car producer, auto producer in the Navy as far as being a Black automotive producer. He also highlighted the first Black automotive producer, which his name escapes me at the moment. I'll get that information and forward that information as well. But he was celebrating the gentleman during the last Juneteenth celebration and was indicating that he was producing automotive vehicles prior to the Emancipation Proclamation. All right, so this is some information, some history that a lot of us aren't even privy to. So I just wanted to make sure that information was put forward. And I was posing a question, what is the viability of such technologies, and, pushing forth that us as Black men, we need to be on the forefront of, such developments and technologies and innovations and engineering. All right. As we're moving forward further into the technological age, dealing with, because one of the things that his mainstay was, he was converting gas vehicles, and he has a conversion process to turn them into electrical vehicles. All right. And so that seems to be the way, things are moving toward the future as it pertains to automotives, but also we were discussing other technologies that it will most likely be prudent for us to be at the forefront of, dealing with different aspects of, artificial intelligence, robotics, augmented reality, virtual reality, and so forth, and how it advantageous for us to funnel our youth into these types of learnings and trades and teachings as they develop their skill sets and develop into careers. All right, looking towards the future. So that's in brief, that's what we've discussed thus far. And we were talking about also being able to utilize these base core principles to have a level of responsibility and accountability that we're able to report back to, something that I was entitling communicative or communal accountability, right? So where we can have these measures based on what we say versus what we are actually doing. And of course, again, these are based on these core principles of the Nguzo Saba, Ma'at, and the wisdom of Tahuti, the Emerald Tablets.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If I understood you correctly, the direction was with the movement of people of our descent, of African American descent, of African descent, creating these different companies in the AI area, for example, or converting gas operated cars to electric and directing youth toward those fields. Are we, or are you also discussing us doing research for those companies that exist for people of African descent and supporting them by buying stock in their companies?
Absolutely. We discussed that as well. Being able to invest in these companies, being able to kind of tease out these different companies, these different aspects of innovation. So one part was to be able to invest in those projects, to invest in those institutions and organizations, to be able to be able to create some additional revenue for our organizations and other community organizations, as well as support those small businesses. Okay, and then lastly, to be able to have this information passed on for ourselves, so we can enrich ourselves and our lives, but also pass that information on to the youth so they can get ahead of the game and be at the forefront of these technologies, as opposed to having to catch up when these things are already launched and in full force.
And I want to add one other thing. We also talked about the potential of financing these brothers that have their own automobiles so that they can get them to the marketplace.
Okay, so we were talking about investing. The brother, he's developing a a banking institutional system, so to be able to be a financier for such projects. So we'll be able to delve a little bit further into that, when we have the time permitted. All right. So yeah, at some point in time, what just let me know when you want to have that presentation, Dr. Washun, and then we can dedicate some time to just allowing you to get that information as far as that's pertaining to the banking. All right. With that being said, I believe Brother Lefty had his hand up, and then I want to come to Baba New World. Brother Lefty, you had a question or comment?
Yeah, I had a comment. Pieces Lefty. I get the conversation we had earlier about integrity and camaraderie. That's why I sit back and listen, because if you sit back and listen, you can be able to tell people's where they at. The brother was correct about we had to have a barometer, and we should be able to discuss different areas of our life, that daily activities that we do, and be able to give examples of how we use certain things. I think based on that, you'll get the camaraderie will come. We're still learning each other. Everybody's learning each other. That's why I said I usually be quiet for the most part. I don't really try to say much. I try to gather what's going on and try to figure it out from there. But with all this technology stuff, me personally, how I feel is that we have to have a mindset of like reverse engineering. In order, and like all these technologies is out, we're already behind the ball. So it's not like we're gonna be able to catch up. Only way we're really gonna catch up is if we start our own thing and it becomes ours and ours alone. That's the only way it's gonna catch up, because that's the only way we're gonna be able to compete.
We gotta have one at a time. One at a time. Go ahead.
So Yeah, so yeah, like we have to have our own, and we have to have the mindset of um self-sustaining, because that's where we need to, that's my focus on when I talk to people in my daily activities, is that when these lights, when the supermarket stops, delivering food, how you gonna feed yourself? Water and food is the first thing we should be worrying about. Technology is like Bob said, you know what I'm saying, that technology can come and go, but you know what I'm saying, natural things is gonna still be here. So it has to be a certain mindset of reverse engineering, of wanting to teaching the kids to use their whys, be creative, use a creative mind, ask them how things work, instead of telling them to join something that they're gonna start to find out how it works anyway. The process of learning is still gonna take the same amount of time if you just learn your own thing than learning somebody else's. So that's really, I have more, but I don't want to take. I know Mr. World wants to talk, so I'm gonna just say I shaded it.
All right, give thanks, much appreciated. Thank you for that addition. Yes, coming to you, Brother New World.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hotel family. I don't want to sound like a Danny Downer or Killjoy or a hater, but Brother Lefty, I don't know if you're married or not, but tell your wife I say kiss you 2 times for me because you deserve it. You on point, baby. Anyway, on this EV, I'm over here almost in tears because we're children of the sun. Why don't we create a solar car? Because see, we keep, like Brother Lefty said, we keep depending on other people's stuff. Let's back away. We don't need integration. We need separation. And we need to get tenacious about that. Because the closer we get to these people, the more of us die. So we need to work on separating, leaving them alone. I'm thinking we ought to do a solar car, okay? Because you can't run out of it in Africa, and we're children of the sun. And leave them and everything they got alone. I'm under attack on my telephone right now. They told me I said stuff that was prohibited. I didn't think you could be prohibited in the 21st century. That's prohibition. Well, anyway, back to what I was saying about the car. We need to develop our own everything. Everything. So we don't have to associate, we don't have to buy into, we don't have to negotiate, we don't have to invest in anything. Right. Let's invest in ourselves for an eternity of freedom from them.
Yes.
This is what we really need. And back to what relative to what you were saying earlier about what Ngozi was saying, we just need to have an in-depth conversation on commitment. Because I mean, it's easy to talk, Ma'at. It's another thing to live it. So this is what we have to practice. It's an ongoing, I guess you call it the manifestation of the process. So we have to master it. We have to find it, refine it, define it, and then refine it. So it'll be fine-tuned. But once we find out who we are and get back to that, there's nothing on earth that can compete nor compare with us. We are the superpower. The melanin provides it for us, which is why we need to create ways to separate completely so we can, first of all, begin to heal. Because I know for a fact we're beautiful people if we ever got to know ourselves. So the key is just to separate so we can find our real selves, and these MaaTic practices that we talk about will become simpler and simpler. Because we'll be with each other, we'll be around each other, we got. And I think that's more than enough. But relative to the car, we should look at dealing with a solar car because the sun's going to shine. In Africa, hey man, we'd be running high power, wouldn't we?
All right. Much appreciated. Give thanks. All right, that was I appreciate that addition to that aspect of the conversation. But we kind of shifted from the aspect we were actually supposed to be talking about. So developing a solar car is brilliant, is excellent. Until we can until we can start to develop with those individuals who are already in that field, right, who are developing solar vehicles, because this is not a new concept. So people have been trying to develop solar vehicles, right? And so yeah, I'm in total agreement with that. All right, let's get our top brains, our top scientists, our top engineers to the table to develop, solar car. I wouldn't see why they wouldn't work in tandem actually to have solar and electrical that is combined so that the electrical battery is actually charged solar. So these things come together. So, but again, having these type of conversations, right, and having these dialogue discussions are able to tease out these things. So I believe we are, even within coming to these meetings, are practicing levels of commitment, levels of accountability, levels of responsibility. So within that, if we can continue in this process on a consistent basis, I think that's the actual action portions that gets past the conversation, right? We're actually applying these things and one, just on a basic level of being able to show up to these meetings on a constant and consistent basis and building towards these end goals and objectives. So again, I appreciate your addition with the solar concept idea. There's definitely the concept of separation, that's been voiced by the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. But we have to on multiple levels, okay? Because we are not at a stage, point, or period where we can completely separate from the dominant society, all right? So we don't want to have any pie in the sky dreams either, right? We want to actually deal with actual factual reality at the same time. So while we're developing things where we can, get into developing solar vehicles that we can.
I want to challenge that. I think we can separate.
I mean, I just want us to think about that just holistically, right? Because the fact of the matter is, until we're able to be the producers, be the distributors, which we on a global scale do not have that capability, right? So, matter of fact, the brother Killer Mike, he did an experiment, right? He had a show. I forgot what the name of the show is called, but his objective was for the day to not spend a single dollar outside of a black business. When he started to get absolutely. I'll the next meeting I'll pull that episode up so we can take a look.
I've seen it.
Oh, you seen it?
I've seen it too.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, do you
Couldn't pull it off?
He did not pull it off. He failed because so the point that I'm making is that idealistically there is one thing, but in reality we have to deal with the brass and tacks of things. We're not at the developmental stage as a nation, as a society.
No, we're not in a mindset
to be producers and distributors on a global scale until we get our organizing, so on and so forth, with other nations and be able to, come together in a certain form of unity, right? That's the underline, that's the foundation. Then we could talk about being able to separate, so on and so forth. Once we have things that are established for ourselves. But in the meantime, in between time, we need to be able to figure out what we need to do in our current state. And so one of the things that I wanted to look at again was how the brother was taking technologies that already existed and was able to implement that into his own company and to be able to create jobs and aspects of innovation and technology to move the needle forward. So one of the questions that I would ask within that is, how can we begin to, because one of the crucial things that I believe that he said was the parts that he had to attain, he had to go through China in order to get, because those were the people who were developing the parts that actually went into the EV motor. So my question would be, how can we get with African countries, African engineers, so on and so forth, to be able to help develop that process of production so that we can actually go to our own people for this type of technology? That would be my question. Right?
Brother Lumumba, Brother New World. I have a shameful fact I'd like to add, but relative to the electrical vehicles, the lawsuits are forthcoming because he's using existing models of cars. So they're going to sue him about that eventually. As soon as he start making a little bit of money, they're going to come after all of it. Now, the shameful fact is Do you all realize that we, people of African descent, have the longest relationship with the Creator on the planet? And it's truly shameful that we're the only people on the planet who don't have a plan. How can we be behind in everything, behind everybody, when God put us here first? They came from us. Now we're the most unintelligent on the planet. Come on now.
Mr. Lumumba.
We can do much better. I know we can. Just focus. That's all we have to do. The only thing between us and great success is focus.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Lumumba.
Can I say something?
Hold tight, real quick, because what we had to do is we had to keep this in an orderly fashion, right? And so we want to also try to stick to the subject and topic matters, because we can go all left, right, up, down, in between with the conversation. But if we can kind of stick to a centralized point, we can keep the conversation moving forward. Okay. So that was some ideal, great information, idealistically, information that we've heard before as well. But if we can move the needle forward by actually staying on the topic, that would be excellent. I would definitely appreciate that.
But remember, how do we raise our hands? Because I don't want to just interrupt, but is there a device, a thing with an icon would be pressed to raise our hand to be noticed?
Yes, there is a
reaction icon.
Yes, which is under more. If you click on the more,
right,
then it'll have participants, invites, going all the way down to
got you.
And then you can use that in order to raise your hand, so on and so forth.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, much appreciated. Thank you for pointing that out, because definitely also, once again, we want to just keep things in an orderly fashion, so we're not talking over one another, but also keeping the conversation flowing congruently, so we're not jumping all over the place in the topic and subject matter. All right, with that being said, coming over to Baba Kill.
Again, peace and blessings to everyone. I apologize for coming in late. I didn't see your email, Mr. Lumumba, until the time I actually came on, so I was like an hour late. But in reference to the suggestions about technology and the sources and electric cars and other things, we are in the age of technology where a lot of people are doing great things and we don't know about it. I was recently on Facebook and I saw that there's a brother in Nigeria who created gloves that can translate the sign language of the deaf into actual sound.
Yes, I saw that.
I saw a post where there's a young brother who's, I believe, 11 years old, who developed a soap that counteracts the effect of skin cancer. So there's a lot of creativity that already exists. We need to keep our eyes and ears open to tap into them. So in reference to the people in the continent of Africa who may have the technology or the ability to develop that technology, I think it's just a matter of us reaching out.
Absolutely.
And keeping our eyes and ears open, because by tomorrow, one of us may see that on some social media platforms. So it's just a matter of keeping our eyes open. In the meantime, with everything else, we need to stay on point. I'm not sure what we're covering at this moment. Again, I apologize for being late, but whatever the agenda item we're on currently, I believe we need to stay focused on that, because we have a limited amount of time on these forums.
I say, agree. All right. And to I'll play a quick clip, and then we can get back to discussion. All right. So let me just hit this clip real quick, and then I'll share my screen. All right, give me 1 second. I'm loading it up now. Okay, all right, let me share my screen. Okay. Here we go. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let me just play this very briefly, real quick.
Oh, excuse me.
All right. Just a short, brief clip. All right, let me stop sharing my screen. All right, so that was just one example. I undoubtedly have no doubt about the genius and the potential of our people. All right, this brother, not sure the country, but he's in Africa. He has a program, where he teaches test to the youth. That's something we actually mentioned previously as well. I do have an initiative for that. I'll be putting that in the chat shortly. Okay, but undoubtedly, we have the capabilities, we have the genius. All right, we have the fortitude, we have the intelligence to do great things. This brother was playing 10 chess games simultaneously, and these weren't just poo putt people that they pulled off the streets. These were people in high levels of science and mathematics. All right, that he was playing against, and he was dominating. Okay, so we do have the capability, we have the ability, right? And so again, just because the brother currently is getting his technology from China does not mean that we should just throw it away, okay? Because we can, like the brother, like Baba was saying, be able to get in touch and in tune with individuals with the same capabilities who are creating these technologies in Africa, some of our own people, okay? And we can look and research into how we can help further develop and invest in those technologies so that that brother can source his innovations from the African continent, from African people. All right. So that's just an example. I just wanted to just to show of our genius, right, and our capabilities. So again, I'm not doubting in any shape, form, or fashion. Solar vehicles, EVs, and to not be afraid of these different technologies. We know. I'm Dr. Washun. I know you were saying something before about the EV vehicle and being susceptible to EMP technologies, electromagnetic pulse type of weaponries and attacks. But also, we're innovative, we're creative, we're intelligent enough. That's a great point you have mentioned. Okay, so how do we create a solution for that problem, right? So perhaps if we can encase or find some type of encapsulation that would cover the EV motor and some type of lead or whatever type of metal shielding that would protect it against those type of attacks. So these are things that we can think of and get creative on and start to look and research into those type of technologies to see, okay, what are the solutions that we can create? Come up with the problems and the issues as part of the equation, but also moving forward and past that, how can we develop solutions for these problems? Okay, that's what I would want the core, of our efforts in going in towards, creating solutions and practical applications of things. With that being said, I want to come over to Baba Ngozi. Yes, sir.
Okay, I just saw the clip, and I'm in agreement with Brother New World and Brother Lefty that, and also when your statement about we are the solution, as you said earlier, we come up with everything that we need. We are the host, and the parasite gets rich off of our genius. But as was said earlier, we are the solution, and that solution is in separation. And I think it was mentioned earlier, well, what if this happens and what if that happens? And, we're not at the position where we can really separate. Yes, we are. It's the mindset. We don't want to separate. We'd rather go to the supermarket instead of going to Fairmount Park and getting some dandelions and some burdock and some clover and some pine needles but we're accustomed to the enemy's comforts. And we got to separate, there you go, that mindset, our standards, our integrity. Do we want to be comfortable or do we want to be African? Do you want to be comfortable or do you want to be free? Okay. And this is what my and the standards come in, to delineate clearly what freedom means and adhering to our standards. Ashe.
Okay. I'll circle back around to that and get my comments, but I just want to let everybody else say what they got to say on that subject matter. Yes, Dr. Washun.
Reality and then what's to come, right? Where we're at, where we're going. Where we're at. What is the scope of this meeting in the short term, the medium, and the long term? From what I understand, and I can be corrected, we're here in support of the Million Woman worldwide movement. As brothers, we have to formulate and come together and see what we can do for our persuasion of our ethnicity, the male, the ethnic male, or whatever name you call us. And what are the next steps? These ideas, are we at that position? Is there somebody focused on the follow-up of these? These are grand ideas, right? I don't suggest we share them openly, all our ideas. It doesn't make sense to do that because other people are in a position to absorb them. I'll give you a fine example, just in the music industry. A lot of people post stuff on Instagram and here and there, and all somebody got to do that's got some backing is tweak it a little bit, and now they gotten your idea that you don't have backing for. You see, so we got to be cognizant of these things at all times. But most important is, are we committed? Do we agree? How do we come to some understanding of how we're moving forward as a group? Seems to me like ideas are thrown out and they seem to be taking root. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily the fact, because the bottom line is what happens between one meeting and the next meeting. There's some things that we're being asked to do, and one of them is dealing with our incarcerated people, dealing with our youth, dealing with a difference in some kind of extracurricular curriculum, or engaging in reorientating ourselves. And then listen to this, please. Every one of us are not at the same position in life or in overstanding. We come in these meetings, and the bottom line is, are we retaining and growing the process while all this is going on? So outreach is the key to this. This is what I believe. I'm in a position where I'm being slowed down to come into this discussion. Not that I'm doing things any greater than anybody else, but the work that I'm doing, most of our people aren't engaged in it. And the people that are engaged in it every day have our wealth because we give it to them. So my aim and purpose is, I've solved the
Okay, Dr. Washun, I got cut off. So hopefully
I'm back. I'm 1,500 miles away from everybody. And when I move around this island that I'm on here, it doesn't have the same level of technology as we do at home. It takes a while for the Wi-Fi to get used to my IP addresses and everything. Okay?
no problem, brother. Go ahead, continue.
So what I'm getting to is this. We got to come to some kind of agreed state that we know what our cadence is. What are we moving on? What needs to be dealt with in the near future and what needs to be dealt with right now. What is our short-term goal? What is our medium term? What are our individual goals as within the order of our organizations? Because everybody here is busy, I'm sure of that. But the question is, when people come in and they're not dealing with all these different things, how do we define who needs to be in what stage? There has to be some kind of protocols, procedures, the MaaTic, all those things could be that. But the question really is, we need things that we need to deal with as a group that's collective in effort, regardless to your individual organization. We need to know how to separate all those things. Because part of your individual organization is also your family. So we have something called 8, 8, and 8. There's 24 hours per se in a day, not exactly, but let's just use that as a standard. We got 8 hours, 8 hours, and 8 hours, right? 3 8s. How do we utilize that time? And then what do we do as we're taking on for the collective? What is the collective issue that we're dealing with here? What we haven't defined any of it. We're making statements, but we haven't carried it to a point where we say we agree that this is what we're doing. I haven't heard that yet. So are we going to be dealing with our youth, our disadvantaged youth, our man-soar-ship, right? How does these things come into direct actions?
So
That's
let me jump in real quick and answer that question. And I'm coming to you, Bob Akil. So this type of group, this type of brotherhood is all encompassing, right? It's all encompassing. So we're going to be dealing with these major issues on all different aspects. This is a holistic type of program, right? So we start from the base, we start from the fundamental, and then we build out from there. So part of the intent was to pull individuals from these specific areas of expertise. So primarily the core members would be electricians, plumbers, counselors, so on and so forth. And once we have a strong enough body where we could say, okay, this person is in this, is in jurisdiction with this process. This person is going to be in charge of youth development. This person is going to be at the head of innovation. This person is going to be ahead of the electrical aspect and plumbing, because we want to have experts in all of these fields. So when that different questions come about or different programs that need to be initiated or spearheaded, we have those individuals already who are in the top of their fields, who are experts in their fields, who we can plug directly into these systems and be able to create these programs. All right.
So shouldn't we define what those all-comprehensive things are? Shouldn't we know? You're talking about a big scope. It's a big scope.
I'll relist that. That you've gotten that information before. You've gotten that information. So I'll send that to you again. There's a broad listing of all of the things that we want to deal with and encompass as it pertains to developing young men and developing men in general, right? And so there's gifts, talents, and abilities that all of us have individually. When we come together as a collective, we're able to share this across the board, right? So each individual are experts in their fields, expert, in their respective areas, right? And again, I have a listing of some general ideals and concepts, as far as getting training, orientation, so on and so forth. So
see, you're missing my point. Let's deal with these things. Let's deal with them and define them definitively and say, oh, okay, we got 20 things and 7 people or 6 people. What are we taking on right now?
Well, first and fundamentally, we haven't even gotten past the fundamentals yet. So we haven't gotten to defining with discipline, dedication, determination, drive. We haven't even come to defining these things yet. So how are we going to move forward into taking on these different aspects of developing?
I'm not saying to take them on. I'm saying to list with the parameters. What are we dealing with. You're saying we're dealing with all these things, right? So then let's take those perfunctory steps, right? And you're saying that as far as defining those words that you put in the chat, that we need to do that by next week, right? That was said before and it wasn't done. So what I'm asking is for us, are we in agreement that it's something we need to do between now and the next meeting?
I mean,
I'm asking for us as a group.
Yeah,
Yes, I agree with that.
Who said that? I didn't get your name.
Ngozi.
Okay. Anybody else on that point?
so
Absolutely.
okay.
Please state when you talk, you got to say who you are because I'm not.
Oh, I thought it came up. Baba Akil.
Okay.
This is Lefty. However Lumumba want to do it.
Okay. And we got Brother Yao and Baba New World. All right. Again, we have a listing of some terminologies, and so we want to be able to come back to the following meeting with definitions for these terms. All right. That is the assignment. All right. Once we can get a fundamental understanding of some of these basics, then I believe we can move forward, having a consensus and having a certain level of accountability when we discuss, moving forward with some of our programs and initiatives and being on the same page and being in the same like mind.
So everybody's spoken. I didn't hear Brother Yao or Brother New World.
That's what I just said. Brother Yao and Brother New World had to tap in. I see Brother Yao has his hand up. So I'm gonna go to Brother Yao. Brother Yao.
Hey, bro. Now, one of the things we probably could do is if you give each other assignments for the next meeting or the next month and see if we actually are able to carry them out in whatever particular field or assignment that we have. That way we can see who's doing what in actual reality.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Agreed. So one of the first assignments that we have is to be able to define these terms. So we have, I will list them again and I'll number them, but it looks like approximately 22 to 25 terms that we need to come back with definitions for. That is one of the first and initial assignments. All right. Also, because I'm curious on some of what we discussed previously. So if those who were talking about the separation piece, I would really like to see if you could submit something by next week, I mean by the next meeting, which is 2 weeks from now, on how that actually would manifest, how that would look like. If you could submit something, okay, we have to do A, B, C, D, and E, right, in order to separate. Because idealistically, to me, it sounds wonderful, but I would like to see the practical application of what individuals are talking about when they're talking about we need to separate. I'm in total agreement with it, but for myself, I don't see us tomorrow completely separating from the system. Like, for one, we don't even have our own currency. So, but again, I don't want to go too far into that. But if we could, those individuals who have that mindset and idea, if you could submit something, so that we can review that for our next meeting, that would be excellent, because I really would like to see the practical application of what individuals are talking about. With that being said, I want to come.
Hey, let me say this. Now we talk about evaluating a term, but what about some practical things that we all do now? And we also bring that to the table for next month. So say if I had an assignment of
Well, that's a twofold process, and I'm not in disagreement with that, but you still have to define
just say if I say I'm a purchase a used car, does somebody else say they gonna do whatever field they in now? not only just evaluating the term, actually do something practical that can be done.
Okay.
Along with evaluating the term, and then we'll see who is doing what. And
you had to provide an example for me. Like what's that's pertaining to? You mean just taking one of our individual projects or something that we're working on? Is that something we're working on for ourselves, for our family, or for the community? What type of project is this, and what are the scopes and depths of it? As far as us reporting back to the collective.
Just say we talked about somebody converting electric from gas to electric. So we got to have a vehicle to do it. The vehicle could be our vehicle, but if somebody knows the place
Yeah, that's a little protracted because I don't think anybody's purchasing a vehicle in the next 2 weeks, right? And I don't believe anybody's converting in those 2 weeks, converting it to an electrical vehicle. So I'm just trying to think, what's the practical application of what it is you're talking about?
The first thing we got to get the car within in a month. Then the next thing is convert the car.
But again, that's protracted. That's not something that we're going to be able to do immediately. We don't have nobody has touched base with the brother Derek Automotive, so we don't even have a contact yet to be able to convert anything into anything. So the first step would be to actually make a contact with the brother Derek Automotive to see what it is that's actually involved with the conversion process before we talk about buying a car.
Well, we still could use the car for the time being, but get the car, then the brother somebody could contact Derek or whoever has the capabilities of contacting.
All right.
You don't have to convert the car there, but you got to have something in place.
Okay.
Once you contact them.
Yes, sir. I hear that, Baba. So I wanna table that, and I want to come back to that because I want to look for something that's a little bit more practical that we can apply. Because I mean, just randomly buying a vehicle in the hopes that we make contact with an individual I would like to have a thoroughly fleshed out plan, right? That we can put on paper, and then we can all share and disseminate and be able to add to and take away from. So if we can have that plan put together, that would be, from my vantage point, that would be first and foremost. So coming up with actually constructing the plan would be the first step, right? And then we can build on that from that point. But just to, I don't believe it's practical just to be randomly, I mean, not randomly, but just jumping out there buying vehicles and not really having a thoroughly fleshed out plan as to the what's, when's, why's, how's, so on and so forth. All right. I want to come to, but I do agree that that's something we can add to that along with the definitions. But adding something that we're doing, I would think would be something that would be community based and oriented, and something that we can touch base on and see how we're developing it as we move forward and be able to come to the table with those things. And I think that's something that we can do practically. But to jump out here about electronic vehicles and conversions, I don't think that we'll be able to do that in our immediate future. All right, that seems like something more protracted. Okay. With that being said, I want to come to Baba Ngozi, and then I want to come to Baba Akil.
Yeah, let's start simple, Brother Lumumba, and to all the participants. Before we get grand, before we get deep, let's really go small. You said currency. We got to think from a liberated mindset. We are the currency, not a fiat dollar or a gold bar. That's their thinking. Our time, our energy, that's the currency. Now, how do we choose to use that energy? Do we choose to be free and sovereign and independent, or find a comfortable place in the system, in the dream that they have? So it's a mindset, which is why we got to go within.
Baba, let me ask you this though.
Before we build without.
What's the practical application of that? We're talking about currency, so we're talking about means of exchanging goods and services.
Yeah, and we used to call it, before we got captured, we used to call it barter.
Right.
We used to call it susus.
Let's get to that.
Now check this out. This is a project. Everybody come back the next forum. with ways that we can, little by little, move away. It might not be everything at once, but one thing that we can do to separate from the system. It might be for a day, it might be for a week. I just suggest something earlier. Instead of going to the supermarket and getting your salads and everything else, go to the park, go about 100 feet away from the road, and you have to know how to forage, because when the supermarket shut down and when your garden, you eat all the stuff, you are a garden grower, that's going to last for so long. You have to have something that's going to sustain you. You have to know how to forage. Nature provides if you know what to look for. So my thing earlier was, let's go to the park, maybe for a day, and just eat the natural vegetation that we can out of the park. That's little things we can do. Little things.
I think that's an excellent idea. And see, that's actually tangible though, right? That's something that we can actually look towards and work towards. That's not something that's idealistic. That's something that's a practical application. We can go out as a collective, you know what I mean, as a group, and look at different aspects of foraging. So that's something that we can do, we can implement rather immediately. Once you come up with that strategy or that plan, you know, that individual who's the most versed within that realm, you know, providing that information. These are the things you cannot eat. These are the things you can't eat. These are the things to look for, so on and so forth. So we need to have that information that we can disseminate amongst ourselves, be able to study it, and then be able to go out and apply it. So I think that's one great, you know, application that we can do as far as a group activity as it pertains to self-sufficiency and independence, right? So I think that's an excellent idea. So if you could begin to work on that, as far as because it seems like you have some knowledge base within that, so be able to provide information to the group so that we can look towards, you know, meeting up and having a collective foraging expedition.
Here we got a native forage master right here, Brother El Hagan, and he has, especially during the warmer months, he's got weekly and monthly forages into the parks all over the city.
I think I had him on a program one time. I've invited him on, you know, several different times. You know what I mean? But yes, that's one resource that we can use. So if you can tap in,
and Brother Lumumba, it might take 50 times of consistency so that we get to really know what we're doing. It's not just, okay, I saw the app and I'm ready to go. No, but it's a process.
Right. No, in agreement. I'm saying I tried to reach out to the brother on several different occasions to come onto the beat. I've had him come on once. Is what
okay.
So if you have a further contact with him that you can, you know, be able to disseminate that information, that'd be excellent. But
Great.
also, you know, we can just, you know, do the research and you know, and tap in with those individuals, you know, who are in that field to be able to pull that information and bring it to, you know, bring it to the collective.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Definitely appreciate that. So if you could, you know, start working on spearheading that effort, that would be much appreciated, because you know we had to start giving out assignments.
Consider it done. Consider it done.
Right, give thanks, much appreciated. All right, Baba Akil, coming over to you.
Peace and blessings. Brother El Hagan has been around for decades, and he has been teaching, I call it urban survival, in terms of going to the park and picking up nutritious plants. He's been doing that forever. Well, one thing I was considering, in addition to that, and I've been sending messages on Facebook, I'm always seeing posts from the Black Farmers Association, pictures of people growing their crops. And what I'm consistently trying to do is I send texts asking, how can we connect with you directly? Because we have Black farmers that's creating a great product. And instead of us getting it or having them have a route through a middleman, hiking up the prices, I'm looking at us possibly connecting directly with the Black farmer and going to their farms and getting the product ourselves. That way we are spending our dollars supporting that Black farmer directly and getting quality food. Another thing I was considering is, in terms of, we have long-term, intermediate, and long-range goals. I think one thing that may be helpful is if whatever project that each one of us is involved in or organization that we're affiliated with, if we can submit 2 or 3 ideas or projects that we are all working on. And if we as collective can pick a project from each one of those to support us individually, then that would help the collective in general. If you have a particular project or projects, then out of the group, we can say to that individual, I can dedicate time to that particular project to help you. So out of the 7 or 6, I don't know how many we have now, we can start by initially support each other for our own individual organizational projects. Short range goal to support each other.
I say. Excellent suggestion. All right, Baba and Gozi. And we're gonna have a few more questions. I don't want to take up too much individual's time. I know time is of the essence. So I do want to get ready to close out shortly. So we can just have a few more questions or comments and be able to wrap things up with what we're looking at for the next meeting and any final thoughts. With that being said, I want to go over to excellent suggestions as well. Once again, Baba, I want to go over to Baba Ngozi. Yes, sir.
Yeah, local black farmer, brother Baba Charles, Glenn L, and also on a larger scale, as far as national, with the Black Farmers Association, local brothers, brother Elliot Booker. He's in contact with the Black Farmers Growers Association with farms down south. So if that's something that is wanted to be pursued, these are the channels to go through. These are the contacts that will lead directly to the Black farmers.
All right, give thanks.
Can I make a statement?
Yes. Let me just say, if you could forward that information to me or put it in the chat, just so I can make sure I follow up on that information, Baba Ngozi. And
Yes, I'll get it to you, Brother Lumumba.
Okay, all right, appreciate it.
If somebody brings something to the table, then my suggestion, if we're committed to the group, then you bring that follow-up to the table so that we would experience what your report is. Because we can't keep leveling things on one person or 2 people. If you have something that you feel is important for the group to deal with, then do that follow-up, bring a report to the table, even if it's during the week. I mean, you don't have to wait for the next meeting. We need updates in between. So you do that follow-up and see where the commitment is, and if they're able and willing to engage with us also. I mean, that's just the way I think it should be done.
I say, I'm not in opposition to that. How does everyone feel about that idea? Whatever idea that we're putting forth to the collective, then we also need to be able to follow up on that and bring something back, as far as whatever follow-up information is necessary, whatever further research, so that we can build upon that. And that can be, during the week. It doesn't have to be, just on the day that we meeting. How does everyone feel about that as far as the collective?
I think that's a viable idea. The idea that I had regarding the Black farmers is difficult for me, not only because I keep seeing them posted and I'm constantly sending text and I'm not getting a response from anybody as of yet.
Right.
But I think another idea that I had regarding our projects that what we've been working on will be viable. So whatever organization that we're participating in, whether it's a personal project or organizational project, if there's assistance needed, then we as collective here now can assist them depending on what the project it is. That's why I suggested 2 or 3 activities that we're involved in, and we can pick individually which one we want to assist each of us in.
Right, right. That sounds like a good idea. I believe, Baba Ngozi can help with that project as well. So he's going to be sending me information as well. So I think that can help towards that effort. It seems like Baba Ngozi has some additional, information and resources pertaining to the Black farmers. Also, Baba Yell put in the chat as well. He's getting some information, and he'll get back in touch with us as well pertaining to the Black farmers. All right. Yeah, so I did put that in the chat as well. All right, and I'll rewrite that up. As far as our meeting notes.
Brother Mumba, did you receive that information that chatted to you?
Okay, you just said a text?
I said it in the chat.
Oh, the chat, okay. I got it. Okay. Yes, Elliot Booker. Okay, yes, I see it. I see it here. And also I put in the chat some of the things that we were discussing, and I kind of linked some things together as well. We did talk about urban farming and Black farmers. So what came to mind with that is co-ops. To be able to create co-ops surrounding that. Like they do with the what's that? The farmers markets. So we can have the Black farmers markets. Type of initiatives, but those type of co-ops where we can go in collectively and buy things, from the Black farmers in bulk and be able to distribute that within our own neighborhoods. All right, based on that cooperative collective. Okay. We also talked about foraging. All right. So these are some of the things that we can look at focusing on as it pertains to the follow-up meeting. We talked about short and long-term objectives that we are working on within our own circles, within our own organizations, but that we can bring to the table and begin to work on collectively once we, looked at the variations, the variables that we have, and be able to pick which one seems the most conducive to work on collectively so we can reach our end goals and objective much more rapidly. All right, so that's another idea that we want to bring to the table on our follow-up meeting. Okay, and then of course, Baba Ngozi provided some additional information with as pertaining to the Black farmers and urban farming. All right. So I'll be following up with him on that as well. Okay. So again, I don't want to take up too much individual's time, so we just want to get ready to close out. I'll forward this information to everyone. I believe I have everyone's email. If I don't have your email, please send that to me. You can put that in the chat. I think I have everyone. I don't believe I have Baba Ngozi. All right. So if you want to, I'll put my email in the chat, but also whichever way, and if you want to put your information in the chat, however you want me to follow up with you. Okay, email. Okay, got it. Okay, excellent. And I put my email in the chat as well. Copy of the recording, yes, sir. I'll have that ready for you as well. Also, Bobby, y'all, I did send you, it's in your email. I sent you 2 other video recordings that you was requesting as well. I believe the Baba Pete recording, as well as I believe the Kwanzaa program. There was 2 recordings that I sent to you. It's in your email though, that I sent for you and Baba New World. All right, so I sent that like a couple weeks ago. So check your email for that. If you didn't get it, hit me back and I'll resend it out. But I did send out, a couple of those videos that I uploaded to YouTube. I sent those to you via.
No, I mean recording for tonight.
I know. I was saying I'll send you that, but I also sent you additional recordings. So I don't know if you got those. I just wanted to inform you that I did send those off to you, and you should have that. If you don't have it, then I can send it out again. Those were past recordings. She was asking me about you and Baba New World. So I was able to finish those up and send those out to you all. Well, I sent it to you because you had an email. So yeah, just let me know if if you got the information or if you didn't get the information, and I can re-forward it to you.
All right.
All right, good, thanks. And yeah, I will make this recording available as well. I did have a few difficulties previously, like I was saying earlier with my electrical. I had some electrical issues and issues with my heating that I ended up having to fix myself. Well, actually, the guy did come out for the heat. I was about to start working on that myself too. I did have to fix my own electrical issues here. But I got that taken care of, so I'm back up and online. So I'm a little bit behind, but I'm catching up as quickly as possible. So thank you for your patience. With that being said, I want to ask for any closing questions or comments, closing remarks, closing thoughts. Yes, Dr. Washun Senekawa.
First of all, I want to say thank you all for staying the course. And most of all, I'm in Jamaica. I move around Jamaica. I'm a project manager, right, for economic development of communities. And we're going beyond Jamaica. Jamaica's a starting point. We're doing work in the US as well. And what I want to get through to you all is we're developing the locations for when the sisters, we can get everything going down here, working on that, to get the sisters to be able to come to Jamaica this year at some date, and multiple venues and logistics and all this stuff has to happen. I got some sisters down here that are serious. Most of them have migrated. They were born here. They lived in the States or the UK for some time. Now they're migrating back here. And I just met up with them for the first time today. I was at a funeral all day for the sister that was and is my Jamaican mother down here. She helped me along this process down here. Getting through Jamaica is not like getting through in the US. If you think you have difficulty, you have a greater difficulty here, and it has nothing to do with being a foreigner. It's just how the business is done. So I just want to say to you that I take this very serious. I take you all serious, and Baba Akil, which is about us supporting one another's organizations. I think that's a key. We need to examine each thing that we're doing, how it fits in the MaaTic and at different points, right? And define that and say, okay, you got that area covered. You've been on that, right? How many people you got working with you? And if we can find others that are in that alignment, we shoot them over to you and the others that are working in those given areas. I'm in the agricultural society. We do farming, we do project development. We grow a lot of things. We're into labs and different things of that nature. I don't do all that work. We got a connection with people down there. We're building relationships. We're tied in.
Oh, okay.
Have we lost Dr. Washun? I'm sure he'll probably be back up shortly. Okay, like he's back.
Yeah, we're tied in with the Maroons of the ancient society, the Tianos and the Carib. 90% of the people have Maroon blood in them, or Carib blood, or Tiano blood here in Jamaica, whether they actualize it or not. They're just as ignorant as we are up in the States towards their own natural selves, the majority of the people. So I just want to say there's a lot of work that comes into bringing our people into a state of readiness and oneness.
All right, yes, sir. Like you froze again. All right, I'm gonna come back to Dr. Washun. All right, well, let me come to Baba Akil. Closing remarks.
Closing remarks. I want to keep it short because I know that it's getting late. I appreciate the time, the energy, and the dedication that the collective is creating. I look forward to us to doing great things, small and large. Asante San.
Asante Sana and Sakitu. All right, much appreciation. Give thanks. All right, coming over to you, brother Lefty. Closing remarks.
Pete, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool. Well, I'm in support of everything that we do. I really appreciate you, Lumumba. I appreciate this time. Appreciate the men that's on here. Personally, I would like the men to meet past these screens because I think that to touch and feel and to see is what we should strive to do, on occasion. And I promote comedy shows. Like my next show is February 17th, so if any brothers want to come and meet, can meet there. That's I have a lot. As long as everybody do the homework, I believe that we can move forward with camaraderie. Everybody's busy, so I put my phone number in the chat. So if anybody wants to text me, y'all please reach out to me. Because I like to have more of these conversations outside of this. That's what I was saying about speed personally. Because if we have to really, if we're serious, we have to really want to know the person and get to know who we're dealing with. And these screens limit that interaction because I'm an energy guy, and I can tell you energy, through the screen, but not it's not 100%. I like to meet the person, sit down, break bread, fellowship. So I think that's a good start. I say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree as well. Much appreciated. Thank you for your addition. Thank you for your time. Coming over to Baba Ngozi. Yes, sir. Closing remarks.
I'm done. Said all, brother. Thank you for your time.
All right, all right. Give thanks. Much appreciated. All right, and coming on to Brother New World. Closing remarks. All right, might be something going on with the audio there. All right, yeah. So we get ready to close out, and thank you once again. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your time, energy, and effort, dedication, determination, and discipline. All right. I want to bid you all truth, justice, peace, love, and freedom. All right. I want to say in closing, let's continue to strategize, organize, and mobilize. And lastly, I want to say Pomoza to Descenda. Together we will win. All right. See you all next meeting. We have our homework assignments. I'll be forwarding out the additional information. All right. Peace and love to you all.
Ashe.
Ashe, ashe, oh.